Another question we get all the time is why at Artius Man, why we always talk about we don't use fragrance oils, okay? We talk about that all the time, but there's a distinct reason why we talk about that all the time. And I want to cover that because this is a question that comes in where I'll get that question like, why don't you guys use fragrance oils? What is a fragrance oil? Why don't you use it? So let's cover this. Let's cover why we don't use it and what it is. A fragrance oil is basically a man-made, so it's a synthetic oil that is basically like what a lot of people who make colognes and perfumes use. Okay, so it's not a real scent. It's not a real essential oil. It's basically just a man-made creation. Now, the reasons we don't use fragrance oils are the following. First off, fragrance oils can cause skin irritation and skin damage, as well as beard irritation, so the hair itself. Whereas, like, we use essential oils, which are good for the skin. They help the skin. They help prevent irritation. Well, a fragrance oil, if you're using a fragrance oil, what can happen is you'll make that skin irritated below the beard, and then you start having the itchiness. You can start having the dandruff and the scratchiness. You know, if you've ever had an uncomfort in your beard, anything uncomfortable, you know the feeling where if you just want to scratch it and dig at it all day long, you're going to cause the skin to flake. You're going to cause further damage, and you're just going to feel irritated. Your beard's not going to feel right, and you know ultimately you're going to have a bad experience. Well, we like to make sure that we give you a good experience and that you don't have that beard irritation, because part of using a beard oil or a beard balm or a beard wash or beard and stash wax is you want to prevent these kind of irritations. You want your beard and face to smell good as well, but you want to prevent dryness and irritation. Well, a man-made synthetic fragrance oil will actually cause the opposite. I'm not saying I guarantee it will cause the opposite, but there's a good chance that you can have those irritations from that, and we like to avoid that. There are no benefits from a fragrance oil, okay? So take, for instance, our classic gentleman, any of our classic gentleman sandalwood beard care. So whatever you're using, the beard oil, the balm, or the wax, no matter what you're using, that natural essential sandalwood oil we're using in there has calming effects for the skin. It naturally deodorizes the skin and beard, and it also has some antiseptic and healing properties about it. Now, if you're using a synthetic oil in that, you will not have those benefits, and there's just no reason to not have those benefits. You may as well be using something that provides those benefits. The other thing I've noticed with fragrance oils is the scents are really off. And here's what I mean by that. Like, you know, a natural sandalwood essential oil has a nice, like, kind of wood, but clean fragrance to it, where a synthetic oil, you don't quite get that. It's a little more strong and maybe a little more potent, but that's because it's not the real scent it would normally be. You're getting that man-made, that fake scent. So, again, I don't recommend the fragrance oils for that reason. You're just not getting the proper scent. Now, why do some companies use fragrance oil over essential oil? It's really simple. There's usually one main reason. It saves them a ton of money. Because the price of, for instance, sandalwood is extremely expensive, whereas the fragrance oil for sandalwood is very cheap. So you can make a product, although it would be inferior, with a synthetic man-made fragrance oil, or you can make it with the all-natural therapeutic grade essential oil. But the one that you make that has the fragrance oil will be a lot cheaper to make than the one that you make with the all-natural essential oil. So you see what I'm saying? They're saving a lot of money that way. But in the end result is the customer is the one who pays the ultimate price, because if you're getting an inferior product, it's obviously not doing what you want it to do. You're not getting those super skin benefits. Now, I'm not condemning any companies that are using that tactic, but what I am telling you is we will never use fragrance oil, and we will only use essential oils for that very reason. We want you to have a perfect, stellar experience, and we want your beard to actually get those benefits every time you use the product. So that's essentially why we don't condone using fragrance oils and why we only use 100% therapeutic grade essential oils here at Artius Man.